In the world of WWE, image isn't just important, it's everything. Muscles, charisma, and larger-than-life personas turn ordinary people into living myths. But here's the truth. The bright lights don't last forever. And when the cameras shut off, the same bodies that built empires can break down. Some wrestlers manage to reinvent themselves, dropping weight, changing careers, or finding peace. Others spiraled into chaos, scandals, or heartbreak. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on WWE superstars who shocked fans with how far they've changed. Some transformations are inspiring, others are tragic, and a few you simply won't believe until you see them. Mark Henry, stronger than ever. Mark Henry was never just a wrestler. Before WWE, he was already a legend. A two-time Olympian and Pan American Games medalist. He smashed American records in powerlifting, claiming the squat, deadlift, and total lift categories. His reputation as the world's strongest man wasn't hype. It was proven fact. When he joined WWE in 1996, that sheer power became his identity. At over 400 pounds, Henry wasn't agile, but he didn't need to be. He was a wall of muscle and size. His Hall of Pain gimmick in the 2000s proved just how terrifying his presence could be, culminating in a World Heavyweight Championship reign. But carrying that much weight takes a toll. Decades of strain slowed Henry down, left him battling joint pain, and eventually caught up with his health. Fans were stunned to see him after retirement, heavier than ever, moving slowly, and looking far older than his years. For a man once nicknamed the strongest, it was heartbreaking. And then came the reset. In 2018, Henry promised himself he would come back leaner. He cut more than 80 pounds, swapped heavy lifting for smarter training, and focused on cardio and diet discipline. Gone were the dreadlocks and excess weight. In their place, a bald head, a neatly trimmed beard, and a tighter, healthier frame. Today, as a commentator and coach in AEW, Henry is proof that real strength isn't about how much you lift, it's about how much you can change. Transition. Henry reinvented himself. But the next man on our list shows what happens when you chase the perfect body too far. Lex Luger. From total package to cautionary tale, Lex Luger looked like the future of wrestling in the 1980s and 90s. Tall, tanned, and carved like an action figure, he was called the total package. Even Vince McMahon once believed Luger could be the next Hulk Hogan. He racked up titles in WCW, including 2 reigns as World Heavyweight Champion, and multiple runs with the US title. In WWE, he co-won the 1994 Royal Rumble with Bret Hart. But his true weapon wasn't in-ring skill, it was appearance. Fans believed in his image as the ultimate star. But behind the muscles was turmoil. Years of performance enhancers and drugs caught up with him. In 2003, his girlfriend, Miss Elizabeth, tragically passed away after an accidental overdose, sparking a storm of public scrutiny. Luger himself was arrested, his home searched, and his reputation shredded overnight. 4 years later, his body betrayed him. A spinal stroke left him paralyzed from the neck down, unable to move his arms or legs. The once perfect total package could barely sit up without help. Fans who remembered his sculpted chest and bulging arms were horrified at the frail figure in a wheelchair. But through faith and sheer willpower, Luger clawed his way back. With years of therapy, he regained partial mobility, enough to drive and live independently. Today, thinner and gray-haired, he's almost unrecognizable. But his story carries more weight than his physique ever did. A warning to wrestlers chasing image at all cost. And a lesson in redemption for those who lost everything. Transition. If Luger's fall from grace shocked fans, the next transformation might be even harder to process, because it's the story of WWE's first true diva. Sunny. The fall of WWE's first diva. In the mid-1990s, Sunny wasn't just a manager. She was the face of WWE's new generation. Bold, beautiful, and magnetic, she was everywhere. In 1996, she was literally the most downloaded woman on the entire internet, years before the word influencer existed. Sunny broke barriers for women in wrestling. She wasn't a fighter, but she was a star. Her charisma made otherwise forgettable tag teams memorable. She was on commentary, in promos, in magazines. She was the standard every other diva would later be measured against. But fame is fragile. Drugs, partying, and arrests began to tarnish her image. By the 2000s, she wasn't remembered for setting trends. She was remembered for mugshots. In 2012 alone, she was arrested 5 times in just 4 weeks. Charges piled up. Theft, violating restraining orders, parole violations. The spiral reached its darkest point in 2022. Sunny was charged with DUI manslaughter after a car crash that killed a 75-year-old man. In 2023, she was sentenced to 17 years in prison. The photos from her trial left fans stunned. The glamorous woman who once symbolized a new era of WWE now looked exhausted, frail, and utterly unrecognizable. Her story isn't just about a fall. It's a reminder that fame without control can become a curse. Transition. Sunny lost everything. But our next story is about a man who found everything again, even after his demons nearly destroyed him. Jake the Snake Roberts, resurrection from rock bottom. Few wrestlers could control a crowd like Jake Roberts. He never needed to shout. His quiet, menacing promos were scarier than anyone else's screams. And when he carried his giant snake, Damien, to the ring, fans were terrified in the best way. But behind the mystique was chaos. Roberts battled alcohol, drugs, and personal demons for decades. His decline was brutal. By the late 1990s, his body had broken down. He gained weight, his face aged rapidly, and his movements were painfully slow. The chilling figure fans remembered had become a shadow. The 1999 documentary, Beyond the Mat, exposed his struggles publicly. Fans saw a broken man who couldn't escape his addictions. Many assumed Jake Roberts wouldn't live to see 60. Then came Diamond Dallas Page. DDP invited Roberts into his home, helped him train with DDP Yoga, and put him on the path to sobriety. The cameras followed his recovery, and fans saw something they never expected. Jake turning his life around. He dropped weight, regained his health, fixed his teeth, and sharpened his mind. Today, Jake works as a manager in AEW, passing his lessons to younger talent. At nearly 70, with white hair and a calmer presence, he's nearly unrecognizable, but in the best possible way. His story is living proof that even after years of decline, redemption is always possible. Transition. From a legend who battled his demons to a vampire gimmick who walked away from wrestling entirely. Kevin Thorne, the vampire turned realtor. In WWE's mid-2000s ECW reboot, Kevin Thorne stood out. Pale skin, slick hair, dark gothic gear. His vampire persona was strange, but memorable. Alongside his valet, Ariel, he played the supernatural outsider role well. But his run didn't last. After a year, Thorne was sent back to developmental and later released. He resurfaced briefly on the indie circuit, but the vampire gimmick never truly caught fire again. Unlike others, his post-WWE transformation wasn't fueled by scandal. It was fueled by a career shift. Kevin Fertig, the man behind Thorne, became a real estate agent in Indianapolis. The brooding vampire disappeared. In his place, a clean-cut, heavier, middle-aged professional in collared shirts and khakis. Unless someone told you, you'd never connect him with WWE. Thorne's story shows another side of wrestling life. Not every wrestler spirals. Some simply move on. Transition. But not everyone leaves the ring quietly. Some trade one stage for another. Like Kane. Kane, Glenn Jacobs, from monster to mayor. As the storyline brother of The Undertaker, Kane was nightmare fuel. The mask, the fire, the silence. He was one of WWE's scariest creations. His list of accomplishments is massive. 3 world titles, 12 tag titles, and a record 20 Royal Rumble appearances. But Glenn Jacobs, the man behind Kane, is nothing like his character. In 2018, he was elected mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Fans who remembered the masked monster were stunned to see him in a suit, clean-shaven, shaking hands and giving speeches. Even more surprising, at 56, he's kept in incredible shape, thanks to DDP yoga. In fact, photos of him today show a physique some wrestlers in their prime would envy. The Big Red Machine is now a fit, smiling public servant. The transformation is shocking, but inspiring. Transition. And while Kane moved into politics, another unlikely figure moved into finance. Spike Dudley, from tables to taxes. Spike Dudley was the ultimate underdog. The smallest Dudley brother, he built his reputation on taking insane punishment. Powerbomb through tables, tossed like a rag doll, Spike made fans respect his toughness. He won cruiserweight, hardcore, and even tag team championships. But his role was always clear. The fearless little guy who never gave up. After retiring in 2015, Spike vanished from wrestling. Today, Matt Hyson works as a financial planner in Massachusetts. Bald, bespectacled, with a salt and pepper beard, he looks more like an office accountant than a daredevil. Fans who saw him in 2022 at a reunion with Bubba and Devon could hardly believe it was the same man. The scrawny kid who once got destroyed for our entertainment now helps families build financial stability. A different kind of toughness. One that proves life after wrestling doesn't need to be flashy to matter. Transition. From the smallest star to the largest giant. Let's talk about Big Show. Big Show, Paul White, the giant with abs. At over 7 feet tall and more than 500 pounds, Big Show was wrestling's largest attraction. He won titles across WCW, WWE, and ECW. The only man ever to do so. His size defined him, but it also hurt him. By 2017, he was dealing with major injuries, including hip surgery after a cage match with Braun Strowman. Most giants get bigger as they age. Big Show did the opposite. He overhauled his diet, trained relentlessly, and dropped over 120 pounds. By his late 40s, fans saw something no one expected: a shredded Big Show with abs. The world's largest athlete looked like a different man. Lean, bearded, bald, and more athletic than in years. He shocked fans. Some even joked he should be called the Not-So-Big Show. Now, working in AEW, he continues to inspire with his transformation. Big Show's story proves that even giants can change. And sometimes, the biggest opponent isn't another wrestler, but yourself. Transition. But not every transformation is about health. Some are about disappearing and reappearing completely different. Adam Rose, from party animal to stranger. Adam Rose's gimmick was bizarre. A party-obsessed superstar with a parade of rosebuds and a giant lollipop. Fans didn't know what to make of him. Behind the scenes, things were worse. Suspensions, wellness violations, and a domestic violence arrest in 2016 ended his WWE career abruptly. When Rose resurfaced years later, fans were stunned. Gone was the skinny, eccentric party boy. In his place was a muscular, heavily bearded man with cropped hair. If you didn't know, you'd never guess it was him. Rose left wrestling behind, living privately and far removed from the lollipop antics. For a man once defined by a gimmick, disappearing might have been the healthiest choice. Transition. But our final story is about someone who embraced transformation. Not to hide, but to evolve. Batista. Dave Batista. The animal becomes the artist. Batista dominated WWE in the 2000s. A six-time world champion, a powerhouse in Evolution, and the man who toppled Triple H at WrestleMania 21. His nickname, The Animal, fit perfectly. Massive muscles, stoic expression, unmatched power. But Hollywood asked for something else. After leaving WWE, Batista shed nearly 50 pounds, slimmed down, and focused on flexibility over brute strength. The Batista bomb body gave way to a leaner frame more suited for acting. Today, with a bald head, rugged beard, and visible aging, Batista is almost unrecognizable compared to his WWE peak. But his success in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and Dune proves the change was worth it. The man once known for powerbombs now thrives as a thoughtful, versatile actor. He's proof that sometimes the best transformation isn't about clinging to the past. It's about embracing a new role entirely. Conclusion. Beyond the spotlight. From Henry's rebirth to Sonny's tragedy, from Kane's politics to Batista's acting. These transformations show just how much life can change outside the ring. For some, it's reinvention. For others, it's decline. But every story proves one truth. Image may fade, but choices remain. In wrestling and in life, the biggest fight is the one against yourself.